Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time again to spill more reality as we get into all of the looks, laughs, and legendary moments of episode 4 of Canada's Drag Race, Canada vs. the World Season 2, Reading Battles. Without further ado, she has a lot in common with Kennedy Davenport's eyes. Beautiful, but lazy. It's my co-caster, QuackrrJack. Jack, how are you feeling tonight?
I honestly feel like that was the best description that someone has ever introduced me on, ever, actually, because I always call myself lazy. And I am beautiful, so pretty amazing after that. And that's like a new world record, right?
Start using this for your regular walk on from now on, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We'll just pay royalties to Lemon later here. Oh my gosh, Jack. At this point, I feel like these Canada versus the World seasons, as much as I do, they are really enjoyable, but they are so short. We're literally 2 episodes away now from the finale, and I'm just like, I want more. I feel like we're not. I feel like we just got a little taste here, like a little sampling. I'm like, where's the rest of the season? Are you feeling like me here? Like, do you feel like that you could just watch this season for at least a couple more months?
Oh, 100%. Like, this season has been so good so far. I've been shocked by how good some of the performances have been and how great the cast has been overall. I honestly feel like the cast could honestly have been here for a really long time before any of them left, just because it felt like it was such a good cast the whole time. I was like, wow. And I agree with a lot of the decisions they've made to get rid of people, but at the same time, I could have just watched more episodes of this because I think we have such a strong cast.
I
And I
think
don't
that
think
happened
anyone was
season
thinking that
one
going
too.
in.
Also, I feel like they had a really strong cast season one too. I'm like, why are we
Oh,
not
yeah.
getting full season lengths for these? Like, why did UK versus the World 2 get the longer treatment, but not season Canada versus World 2? I'm very questioning these production decisions here.
I mean, production decisions, especially lately, have been very questionable, but I can't say that I'm disappointed with the things happening because right now it's been a really good season and I'm really enjoying the talent we've been seeing so far. I'm really enjoying a lot of the queens banter with each other. It feels like a good season. Like maybe there isn't as much drama, but there have been bits of drama here and there. And it didn't feel like it was like produced either. It just felt really natural, like the queens were just being themselves. And it's kind of fun to see that.
Yeah, I do agree. I feel like everybody this season really has kind of been at the top of their game, and it feels like, they've kind of been able to show that. And I do agree. This is a really, really talented group of girls, and I'm very, very excited kind of to see where things go in the end, because I think there's still a lot of question, at least for me. I think there's probably 3 girls that could probably take the crown. One or two obvious ones, but there's a third that I wouldn't be, too upset took it either. But we can kind of get into the episode, see how things finish up here, and then we can kind of talk at the end here about our thoughts on who will likely be taking the crown here. But episode 4 begins with the sad, sad elimination of Miss Tynomi Banks, and Miss Fiercalicious being upset that her last interaction with Tynomi was a fight. So this kind of prompts Lemon and Fierce, as the only 2 Canadian girls left, immediately to repair their rift and apologize to each other, especially after everything that's going on with these two on Twitter. Do we have any capacity to believe that this is true and they're actually going to work together? Or are we thinking there's some shade going on like Eureka here, Jack?
Honestly, I think that these two just have a playful, fun, like mini rivalry. I think they're sisters through and through, and I think they're just like expressing themselves to each other, and this is how they maybe interact with each other. I don't think there's been anything that's been like, oh, this is super shady or anything that I felt that was like really awful. So like I've been fine with everything I've seen. I've been like, oh, this is funny, haha, they're good. Like I think they're good. They've made multiple posts about being like, we're good. We just like read each other because like we're sisters. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe it. I believe that they've made up. I believe everything they're saying. I think that they're in a very good spot.
It gives us our like little draft group of people. Like we could sit here, we could read each other. We are so brutally honest with each other. But that's what makes it fun, and we know that it's coming from a place of love. And it's if you can't call out your friends, then who can you call out? That's just my opinion there. So yeah, I think I agree too. I think Fierce and Lemon are they're fun. They're probably much more closer than it probably comes across on camera, but they're definitely it's very like mistress energy where it's like she loves you but she's gonna read you, and I love mistress energy. So love what these two have going on here. Also something else that we gonna bring up this week because Alexis did kind of admit it in the confessional here too.
She 100% did.
That she gave Kennedy the beaver because they're friends. So obviously at this point they're probably the most obvious alliance here, but I do kind of want to talk about Cheryl because Cheryl is also kind of in a very interesting position here, especially with her friendship with Lemon, and we kind of get a very emotional deep dive I want to say into Cheryl here because I felt for me they were maybe setting her up for the win here. Like I don't know about you, but I felt that she was possibly going to finally get that win that she's been looking for after 3 seasons. But um, after the fact that Kennedy shades her for being a Pointer sister, which I it was so fucking random. By the way, Kennedy, her side comments have been so good this season. But one of Cheryl's points here that she's kind of been talking about all season, but she really gets into this season, this episode, is the fact that she had a really hard time after UK versus the World won, and she was saying how everybody online was saying how robbed all the other early eliminated girls were, like Lemon and Jimbo and Pangina, but no one was making any big deals about Cheryl being eliminated second. So she said that she kind of got into a depression afterwards, but it was Lemon who was with her every step of the way, which I think was really amazing to hear that there's this support system that these queens have that they really do look after each other. And I do feel like Cheryl is kind of really overlooked. Like, there's a lot of girls that I think get the Jan treatment. I think Cheryl is probably one of those girls that maybe there's some situations here where she might not do, like there's always somebody that I feel like will always do just as well as her, maybe a little bit better. But I still think there's a point here where Cheryl probably should have gotten a win, at least at some point here. Like, I think we were talking about this earlier, especially after this episode how the results were, I think we could have given Cheryl the win during the whole episode. Like I don't understand why episode 2 she didn't get that win now. Do we think Cheryl has because obviously including this one, there's only 3 episodes left here. Is Cheryl still in the running to get this crown despite her being winless over 3 seasons, or do we think maybe it's not going to happen
There's
here
no
for Cheryl?
chance for Cheryl. Unfortunately, there's no chance for Cheryl. Like at this point, you have to have a win to have a chance at going further, in my opinion. And what I do see for Cheryl is the ability to definitely make top 4, but going all of the way and taking the crown, no, I don't. I don't see that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yeah,
unfortunate. But it just is what it
it's
is.
it is true. Cheryl's gonna end up like Vanjie in our All Stars 9 run through. She's gonna end up being
Not even
winless with
win.
no single wins throughout 3 seasons. By the way, link to that up here above if you don't want to watch that. It was a great video, a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm feeling for Cheryl here because I feel like she's trying, and I do feel like again she had 2 very strong performances the first couple episodes, but it's just like
Even her first challenge performance was really strong too.
she just
Like
kind of slipped up a little bit in the ball, but not even like that much, like
she
everybody
wasn't
was
even in
kind of
the bottom
strong.
2 for me. I feel like that was just because of the Golden Beaver twist. Like there was no chance of her actually being in the bottom 2 that episode, but you
Yeah,
know,
I agree. It's just kind of rough. I feel like, especially with this kind of group, like if you're not, I guess, 100% of the time, even if you're 99%, it's still it's not going to net you that win. You kind of have to go above and beyond. I mean, I think at this point, and poor Cheryl, poor Cheryl. Um, Anyway, let's get to the mini challenge here because I really actually liked this mini challenge. I thought this was a lot of fun. Brad goes into the workroom here and introduces his new TV show that the queens will be competing in called Lip Sync or Swim. And initially, I was just like, "Oh dear lord, are they going to do that stupid thing where they have to put their head in water and lip sync?" I was just like, "Oh no, please don't." But in this one, queens are challenged to remain composed doing a lip sync while bunch of shit is flung at them with the fan. There's streamers flying at them, feather boas. I think there's blow up dolls at one point that come flying at them. Like, I thought it was pretty funny. Cheryl especially was making me laugh because she could not keep composed whatsoever. The bitch was breaking character constantly. She was, I think there was one point where she's yelling the lyrics, and I'm just like, and then Kennedy had my favorite moment when she fucking dodged the boa that was being flung at her. I thought that was hilarious. But I do think ultimately Fierce did probably stay in character the best. Like she was doing the more like typical drag moves, like the floor work and whatnot. But she looked pretty good doing it the whole time. Like I don't think she ever seemed flustered whatsoever. Whereas I feel like every all the other girls, to some degree, other than maybe Lemon, who I think Lemon wasn't flustered, but she was using that like as like a little bit of community background to kind of play into it a little bit. But I'd say Fierce probably stayed in character the most. But it's probably also helpful that Fierce has a resting bitch face, so it's not gonna change very much, or she's not gonna have very many reactions here. But did you have any thoughts here on the mini challenge chat?
The mini challenge I actually really enjoyed. I will say though that I was like, maybe we do a different song next time personally. But I found the mini challenge very fun. I also agree that Fierce won the lip sync, and it ended up kind of for the better, I think, for most people. And it ended up being fine because at least Fierce has finally got a win, and she's excited that she's no longer winless technically in this competition.
Yeah, true. I guess if we're going by Lucy LaDuca standards, she now has so many mini challenge wins. So it's whatever. So yeah, Fierce is our mini challenge winner. Ultimately gets to decide her partner in the Maxi Challenge, which I was very excited for. The reading battles. We learned the rules, which initially I think we were kind of questioning how this was going to go down. Were they going to work with their partner? Were they going to go against their partner? Was it a head-to-head thing? Well, it turns out it was a head-to-head thing, and each queen will face off against one another, and they'll go back and forth delivering reads at their opponent. Whoever does the best in each matchup will win and be in the top, while the loser will be guaranteed to be in the bottom three. What did you think of this twist, Jack? Because I kind of was living here for it.
I love this twist. I was like, okay, like let's see some development. Let's see some girls like, get into it. I want to see the mess. I want to see girls call each other out because these girls work together. They have a lot of they have a lot of I guess knowledge that we don't necessarily have about each other, right? So it was going to be interesting to see, does this come into play? How good is everyone at this? Are the girls going to be able to keep up? I was excited.
And I can't remember. Did they do a reading challenge this season? I don't think they did episode one, right? They just went right into the picking the
I
teams
don't believe
for.
they did, and
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it so exciting is like we see a new kind of challenge. Um, and I just want to mention this now, for any of the haters out there. I don't think the season is being rigged just because they did a reading challenge necessarily. I know there have been some like hate comments about Lemon specifically. They're like, "Oh, they're setting Lemon up for a win. This is a reading challenge. Like, Lemon's gonna do great." I want to know who thought that like the other queens in this competition had no chance in a reading challenge when we literally have Alexis, Mateo, and Kennedy Davenport here, who like are known for like talking shit and some of the best like quips back. Like, why is Lemon the only person you think that can read that well? Like, all of the queens should be good at reading. It's like part of the brand at this point.
I mean, all of these girls delivered really good reads, personally, as far as I'm concerned. There was maybe one or two misses here and there, but like none of these girls were bad here, so I don't think anybody really came into this with any sort of advantage instinctively whatsoever. Honestly,
Right.
if I was to say, yeah, I do think Lemon would do well here, but I mean, I would think Kennedy, personally, for me, would be the biggest threat out of anybody here in this group. So I don't think any of these challenges are necessarily being set up to rig one way or another. But personally, for me, I love the fact that Canada's Drag Race is coming up with new takes on challenges or taking old challenges and kind of revamping them into something new. Like that's what needs to be done here. And I think the fact that they're using Canada's Drag Race really kind of as like a testing grounds for this, because we've seen this happen kind of quite a bit. I think especially this season, and just kind of the way that they've kind of shifted things up, the Golden Beaver, everything like that, and then challenge like this here too, and then kind of next week's Rusical challenge too being like Snatch Game. Like they are constantly mixing things up here, so I'm a fan of it, and I think I that's why I kind of really enjoy Canada's Drag Race is because they're not afraid to kind of shake things up and do things a little outside the box and kind of set the tone for what could possibly be future twists moving forward here. So, um, I love this challenge personally. I would love to see this challenge on any other season. Could return, as far as I'm concerned. So, um,
Same.
let's kind of get into the.
I think it's great.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't understand why people are hating personally, but haters gotta hate everywhere. Always gotta look at the comment section with a grain of salt sometimes. But let's get to how the matchups were set up here. Because Fierce, our mini challenge winner, again gets to pick her opponent Fierce, deciding to go against a Lemon. And I was kind of like, oop, oop. But she did reveal her main plan here was to go against Lemon because she was going to be, obviously competition. If she wins, sweet. She could take away Lemon's top trajectory here from being in the top every single week. And it would set Fierce up in a very great position to kind of be the Canadian frontrunner at this point. And she reveals that if she loses, okay, well, then at least she won't have to lip sync against Lemon. So I'm kind of like, okay, this might have been the smartest thing I've gotten from Fierce, a very, very, very long time. Like this was very kind of strategically well put. If Fierce was going to stick to, I think that agenda that she had initially. Did we have any questions on Fierce's decision to go against Lemon here, Jack?
No, actually, the only thing I thought maybe it was like, well, if it were her and she was worried about her like alliance with Canada, I was like, did she not worry about her alliance with Eureka maybe, or was she just hoping that her and Eureka would both make it to the top then? That's the thing that like kind of I was questioning. I was like, well, why would you be so worried about this but not that? And so that kind of stuck out to me. But I mean, at the same time, you you can't like force everything to happen the way you want it to, right? Like some things are just going to occur one way or the other.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's just how things go down. So, um, nah. As far as it goes here, I think Lemon or Fierce made the smartest move she possibly could have. Maybe picking Eureka maybe could have been smart since Eureka's been in her head here, but um, other thing about that too, that Team 10 stuff disappeared this entire episode till the lip sync. Was nowhere to be heard from. Um, so, what happens next? Oh, Lemon. Lemon gets the next pick. Uh, and she decides to allow Cheryl to pick her partner next. And Cheryl selects to go against Eureka, meaning our other two US queens, Alexis and Kennedy, are going to have a friendly read off between them. Did you have any thoughts between these other two pairings? Because I feel like other than Lemon versus Fierce, where I felt like Lemon had a very clear advantage, I thought the other two matchups could have gone really any sort of way here. Other than looking into the edit here, which I think kind of was setting some people up for failure, some people up to do well. But outside of the actual edit, I thought the other two matchups really could have gone either way here.
I I was hoping for Cheryl to do extremely well because I think she picked a very strategic target. I think that one thing about Eureka, whether or not you like her or dislike her, she has these Eureka-isms that like you can't ignore. It's just like the Vanjie-isms. It's like there are these things that you can play on that you can't necessarily always play on from every other person, and it's kind of gonna be funny. It's not just the oh Eureka's fat, haha, but like Eureka, she knows she's loud. She knows that on top of being a loud person, she knows that she can be a bit annoying, a bit eccentric. Like, he has a lot of personality, so there's a lot to grab from here. And I'm not saying that there aren't as many things to grab from with Kennedy and Alexis, but I also think if I had to choose someone I wanted to go against out of the people left, I definitely wouldn't have picked Kennedy, and I don't think I would have been like gun ho about going against Alexis here. I really think I would have been like, let me try to get someone else. So I think this is a great choice for her, especially because now she's going up against a queen that may not have even seen any of her seasons. So, I mean, it's going to be harder for her to read Cheryl down because she might not have as much of an idea of who Cheryl is.
I definitely agree with that. And it's same token too. Now you have two strong competitors like Alexis and Kennedy going at each other, so it's like, kind of a win-win there for you, right? You
Yeah,
don't
they
have to go
definitely can't
against
win.
them. So yeah, they both like you definitely both can't win, and you don't have to go against either of them. So yeah, I agree. I was kind of hoping for Cheryl to kind of pull through here. So before we get to the actual challenge, though, wanted to get into some of the work group conversations because I think we get a lot of good insight here. A lot just because I mean, there's only six girls left. Sometimes I think they have a hard time filling the time for for content here. I thought we got a lot of good, real good personal content from these girls this episode. First, I kind of want to talk about Miss Fiercalicious because obviously she's had quite a season bickering with everybody in the workroom. But I do think we saw a very vulnerable side to Fierce tonight, which I really appreciated. She mentioned how when she was little, she used to be very outgoing, but she was bullied a lot for just being herself. And I can kind of really relate to this because when I was younger, I was extremely outgoing myself. I was very lucky to be embraced for that, at least in my younger years. And I didn't think I really experienced a lot of bullying, except my super close friends, but we could talk about that later. That's another podcast in itself. I do understand what Fierce is feeling though, because once I kind of got in college and was in like a new setting, I didn't feel the same reception to my personality as I did when I was in high school. So a lot of that negativity did turn me into kind of a little bit more of an introvert to that degree for a little bit. So I kind of get what she's going through. Jack, do you have any sort of resonations here for Fierce? Because something tells me you have no issues speaking your mind and saying what you need to when you need to.
Believe it or not, I wasn't always so bold and brash and stuff. I was the what I like to think of as the perfect child. I strive to be everything. I have a bit of a perfectionist complex about me because I constantly feel like I need to do better and be better. So like I know what it's like to not always feel accepted or feel um I guess people receiving you well. I mean, for me, I always felt like my size as a bigger person, I always had to fight to prove that I was better or that I had worth to people, like regardless, because I knew that was the first thing that I'd be judged upon. I was like, oh, I need to like prove that I'm better than other people, so like I can't just be looked down upon. So I kind of understand what it's like to not really feel, I guess, comfortable or with like being 100% yourself because you have to you're worried about what other people think. So like I can definitely understand her feelings on that.
hmm She's also still young too. She has a lot of growing to do, and I want to say that she's taking these learning experiences with stride. Like she did apologize for some of the drama that she caused here. So um, who knows? Maybe Fierce is, you know, coming out of this a little bit more of a better person. Who knows? Not to say that she was a bad person at all to begin with, but who knows? We all have life lessons. We're all not perfect, so. Um, the other person I really want to highlight here is Eureka, because I was really feeling with Eureka this episode. Like I feel like it's sometimes she kind of puts on a little bit of a front sometimes, but this episode I feel like we really got to see a very honest introspective into a lot of what she's dealing with. um, she goes on about her sobriety journey and how this season was the first time she would be doing this competition without any sort of numbing agents. And did that not hit hard for me? I've been sober off and on my entire life, and thankfully, obviously, times when I'm not, it hasn't hampered my life at all. And personally, for me, I'm of the mindset of everything you do is okay as long as you do it in moderation. But the way Eureka really described a lot of what she was going through, I think a lot of people can really relate to this. And I think to be, again, the most human I think I've ever seen Eureka. Now, do I think she kind of sometimes plays the victim sometimes? Yes, but I also don't think Eureka has had the easiest
Mm-hmm.
life at all whatsoever. She's probably had to deal with a lot of just unnecessary hate for whatever reason. So I'm not going to try to judge the reactions that she has to certain situations. I just wish she wouldn't do things like call out kimchi. But I don't want to get into all that again. Like that was, eh. But I do think that, as far as for all the crap that sometimes she gets here, I do think Eureka has some good intentions. I do think she is a good person. And I do think this episode really, that all kind of hit home for me personally. Um, do you have any sort of thoughts on Miss Eureka's journey here at this point?
Um, okay, so yes and no. Like Eureka has had a hard time. Like she didn't transition at first. A lot of people didn't understand that she like didn't feel like she could transition, I guess. And it's because a lot of people don't like go to look up more about her, but her, I believe, drag mother's best friend was a trans woman who ended up being killed. Um, and so she saw the violence against trans women, so like she was very worried about it for herself. So a lot of people had been very didn't necessarily know this, and so a lot of them were not the biggest fans of Eureka. And I'm not saying that you have to be Eureka's biggest fan, but I think there is some compassion you can give to someone. I mean, especially as we know, like trans individuals don't have the easiest kind of life. Obviously, like we all know that our trans brothers and sisters don't have, you know, the easiest time associating with people. They're constantly feeling a lot of extra violent behaviors and violent tendencies that are coming towards them just for who they are. And so for Eureka, it was like it's kind of sad to like see it kind of unfold and some people not believe her. So like I definitely feel for her. I definitely see like she's really been dealing with this, and now that she has to like feel these emotions, and then she was dealing with her sobriety so that way she could deal with these other pent up emotions, and now she's gonna not have like that crutch because she's giving up her addiction. It's gonna be very hard for her, and like you can't help but to you know I think find some compassion there, even if she's not your fave.
Yeah, I think the world could do with a little more understanding, a little more empathy. It could take us a long way here. Hopefully, like I said, the Drag Race fandom is very notorious for their the way that they kind of reach out to queens, just in with so much negativity. And I hope something like this she's getting a lot of positivity for, because I mean, like that it's very brave for her to kind of, I think, speak about. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't I don't have anything negative to say about Eureka, I think, anymore. I'm good. I'm good there. Let's go ahead and move on to the matchups then, shall we? We could go ahead and get this challenge started, because our first matchup is Lemon versus Fiercalicious. Fiercalicious, God. Slurring my words already. I thought they actually both did really well, honestly. At least to start. Fierce definitely started to get into her head, I think, about halfway through, and you could see her face. Just she started to kind of, I don't know, did she start to get like offended and maybe like a little upset about some of the reads that Lemon was
Yes,
giving back to
yeah.
her.
The girls had been talking about this whole like where to get your thick skin thing in the room beforehand, and Kennedy made the mention of like I don't think you have thick skin, and I was like, "Ooh, Kennedy, you right? Okay." Immediately, what I thought to myself was like, "Oh, Kennedy's right. Like, I don't think Fiercalicious has like very thick skin at all because even though this is clearly a challenge and the girls are supposed to be doing this, like I had a worry that this might happen to her. I guess it wasn't so much a worry as it was a I assumed it was going to happen, and it did. And she got bothered by some of the things she said, and the moment she didn't feel like she was in charge, it seemed like it kind of spiraled for her.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
I
tended
think a
to
lot of it too
cover.
was a lot of Lemon's um Lemon was quipping back at a lot of the things
Yes.
that Fierce was saying, and Fierce never quipped back once. So I don't think I think she was very taken aback by that happening. I don't think that she thought that Lemon was going to say anything back to her other than the reads that they were going to be giving. So you definitely feel like she was completely phased by everything that Lemon was saying to her. Even after the very first comment, the Miss Fiercalicious has stamped her name all over this competition. Each challenge, Miss, in her face, bitch face. Like she was instantly just, and I think every single one of Lemon's reads got just better from there. We got the Kennedy's lazy eye comparison, the Miss Vanjie being fucked by Brooklyn Heights comparison. There was so many good reads that Lemon had here. Did you have a favorite?
Oh my gosh, did I have a favorite of Lemons? Probably it was probably the Brooklyn Heights thing because I think that was so funny that she was so willing to just like get also involved with other people. Like she wasn't afraid to like, you know what, this is I'm supposed to be coming for Fierce Delicious, but I don't mind like jabbing at someone else because I think that's so funny when you like when you mess around with everyone. I think that's hilarious.
It was very roast energy, and obviously they're not going to get a roast here, so I thought it was very smart for her to include the reads there as well.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah,
it's essentially gross.
it kind of like what we were expecting here. I don't think there were any surprises. Lemon wins the first round pretty handedly here. Gets the first place in the top three, and Miss Fiercelicious unfortunately becomes the first member of our bottom three. That takes us into matchup number two, Cheryl versus Eureka, and you both did really well here, actually. But I will say
Mm,
I was a little taken off or taken aback by Eureka's approach to like monologue the very first, read that she had. And then it felt like Cheryl kind of instantly won the moment she decided to sit in silence for 10 seconds after she had that monologue and then read her. Um,
yeah.
then Eureka also got thrown off by Cheryl taking her Princess Fiona joke, and you could just tell that Eureka was just not in her element here. Cheryl was hitting all of her jokes. I think it was pretty clear that Cheryl had won this matchup pretty easily.
No, yeah, it was. There was also a joke that Eureka said that I think a lot of people got like kind of about, but at that point it was already over anyways. It was just she was desperate to try to make something happen here because she knew she was going to end up in the bottom at this rate. Like she had to turn around and she could just never get back in her favor, really. And that's unfortunate, but it happens.
I mean, you're at the final six, and there's six very, very strong seasoned competitors at this point. It's nothing to be, I would say, that upset about doing slightly in, bad comparison to them, because, I mean, everybody here is doing well for the most part. So, yeah, Cheryl takes round two. Eureka, fortunately, will be in the bottom three for the second time this season. And that leads us, I would say, maybe to our main event here. Alexis Mateo versus Kennedy Davenport. And I think this was clearly the closest two battles because Alexis and Kennedy really, really went back and forth reading each other down. Like, I think my favorite part here is that you could tell these two are really friends, so they're not really afraid to take things off the cut and just start shading each other outside of their planned jokes. I think that was my favorite part, were their reactions back to each other to the jokes that they were saying. But I think Kennedy won this when she had that physical comedy moment where she decided to throw off her wig and let it stick to the back of her head. Like that was just too much for me. Like she
So
looked ridiculous. That
I
was so
thought she
good.
was saying that wasn't on purpose. I thought that was like an accident.
Oh, was it? I don't remember. I don't know if she said she planned. I thought she said she planned it, but for it to like come off all the way, not to get stuck.
Oh, okay. Is that what it was?
I don't
I was
know.
very confused. I was like,
That's that's the way I took it, was that it was supposed to come all the way off, like it wasn't supposed to get stuck.
I mean, so I love a good physical gag and everything. I think the one thing that for me, like, and this is just something that like, especially since we're at the top six, like it needs to be said. I don't know how I felt about her like cutting off Alexis from speaking at the one point. Like, I'm not a big fan of, because I guess it's like the whole if you're gonna be judged and graded on it, like when Alexis was speaking, Kennedy kind of overtook and didn't let her speak. And I was kind of like, oh, like for me, that's like not how it should go. But it didn't
Are you
seem to
talking at the
bother her
very
as much
end,
as,
or?
yes, at the very end.
Okay, well, I think she did that personally because Alexis was going to get the closing word, and I think Kennedy wanted to make sure she got her last joke in first before everything was cut off.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I was like, not sure I feel about this.
I actually have it noted here. I was like, I loved it when she did that because I thought it was very smart because none of the other girls that went first had done that. So I thought it was smart for her to kind of do that at the end, personally, for me. But it, I thought personally, even without that part, Kennedy still killed it. Like she still did
Oh,
so well,
definitely.
for
I
sure.
didn't really think that like I guess this is the kind of the problem where I was like I didn't like the idea of us like having a bottom three and a top three just based upon these upon just the roast. Like I was like, well, what if like two girls bomb but they have to pick a winner? Like what do you do? Luckily, it
Well,
didn't happen, but
yeah,
it made me nervous when they told us the format.
I think they were planning on the fact that probably they were going to have a strong top six and none of them were going to fail. Or if they were going to fail, it would likely only be maybe one group, probably not both of them. Who knows? Um,
Right.
but it ultimately it worked out. I thought this challenge was a very good success. So I would love to see them have it happen again here. Um, and like I said, I think the fairest results ended up happening here. Kennedy, out of the top three, which again were Lemon, Cheryl, and Kennedy. Kennedy is granted the winner, or the win this week. And also, it was kind of shocking here that we got right into the win because I was expecting a runway. But it, turns out there was no runway this week, which, I mean, it's fine. Global All Stars starts on Friday. Could start getting some stuff prepped. You can make this podcast shorter. I'm okay with that. But Jack, there was apparently some tea on this situation here, right?
Well, okay, there's not tea, but I think that the runway wasn't shown so that way. This is my personal opinion. I think that the runway wasn't shown because you know, if the runway is taken into consideration, maybe Kennedy doesn't win the challenge.
Well, that's because
Be,
the whole idea. Well, apparently the theme was supposed to be razzle dazzle, and the
yeah,
costumes that they were, or the outfits they were wearing on the main stage during the challenge were apparently their runway outfits. So yeah,
it
I could
was a
see
lack
that.
of razzle and dazzling.
If I had just
Sure.
seen Kennedy's by itself, I would not have known that this was the category. So,
Few
there
of them
could.
I wouldn't have known.
I mean, there's
Like
some.
Eureka. What was that? Was
Yeah,
that razzle dazzle?
I don't
Like
honestly.
I
I
probably
don't even
wouldn't have
pay
gotten
attention
it.
to any of them, honestly. Because if they're not coming out in the runway, I've been just like whatever they wear to the mini challenges and stuff like that. I've been known to just kind of like, eh, whatever. So I was like, once you told me that those were the runway outfits, I was like, what? This was not random stuff that they just had hanging out that they had to use for a challenge. Like this
No,
was
and
supposed to
then
be a
you kind of
runway.
when you found out like what the theme was, you kind of realized because you were like, oh, like Cheryl is like a ringmaster, and you can see Fiercalicious is clearly like a magician, and Lemon's got the showgirl outfit on that's very Las Vegas, and you know we even see like I got Razzle Dazzle from Alexis's. Like I was like, oh, I think this is Razzle Dazzle. Like I didn't necessarily get the category right away, but then I looked over at Eureka and Kennedy and I was like, what the hell is this? You can't tell me you didn't just have this already in your closet. You just brought it here. Like no way in hell you can't. You'll tell me otherwise.
It's like,
Sorry,
well,
girl. Like that was. Also, okay, this is the thing I have to say. We're not going to talk about the looks, but
do it.
that
It's fine.
Kennedy's shoe is so unforgivable. For that, how dare she use that shoe? How dare she in that shoe? I'm just saying, like, it is like a silvery white, like 12,000 straps on it on an ankle high with a blue bodysuit, like a blue nude bodysuit. I was very confused, okay? I don't understand. I was like, the shoe
I
didn't do it
mean,
for me.
Kenny's just sticking true to form. She needs to have one outfit where you just kind of go, what?
I
Well, you know,
mean,
yeah. She's had some really good runs this season, so we can't. Well, she's allowed to have one or two misses here. So, either
yeah,
way,
I'm not hating that she has a bad outfit per se. I'm just like, the shoe had to be talked about though. Like, I was the one shoe I was like, at first I was like, Cheryl's is fine, and then I was like, I kind of don't like the strap there, but I was like, you know what? I can't say anything until I say something about Kennedy's. I was like, it's only fair that I be honest and like not fault. But yeah,
well,
it was
despite her getting
important.
your golden boot, Jack, she got the win. The second
Yeah,
win
that's
of the season and the first person to get two wins. Is Kennedy our front runner?
um. So I don't want to say front runner only because Kennedy has been in the bottom before, and someone on the cast who has a win hasn't been. But I guess I yes, she is definitely one of the two that I think we will see at the end. Whether she wins or not, it's going to be a hard call because we still have 2 more weeks, and one of the weeks is a musical. So I'm not sure how she's going to do. She's a good performer, but I wouldn't say her musicals have always been great, or her performances have ever. I guess I should say the performance challenges haven't always been her strongest suit when it comes to that. Not that she's not a great performer, because she is, but so with this next one coming up, and if we assume there's only two tops and three bottoms, or even one top and four bottoms, like for the Golden Beaver, I don't know. Like it could it could end up throwing things off, especially if she gets to lip sync for the first time.
Mm, I mean, I can see that. I can see that. Who really knows though? Because like I said, between Kennedy, I think Alexis and Lemon, I think they've all been pretty strong performance for the most part. I mean, our bottom three again. This episode is Alexis, Eureka, and Fierce. And even then, I don't even think Alexis did even really all that bad to end up in the bottom three here. So, I think going into Untucked here, for me, especially with Alexis and Kennedy's friendship going on, seemed like it was kind of a no-brainer where the Golden Beaver was going to go. So it kind of felt like, at least for me, Fierce and Eureka maybe were having moments of realization here that they were going to have a Team 10 lip sync, especially because Fierce claims to have a moment of growth where she reveals that she's proud of how well she's done here, but she needs to prove herself in this lip sync, and she doesn't want the Beaver. But I have to ask though, Jack, do you think this was a moment of true growth? Or do you think she just really liked her chances in this lip syncs?
A little of both. I mean, if you knew that that was the song, she had a pretty good chance of doing well at a Pussycat Doll song, right? So, I, I mean, am I saying like Fierce is like gonna kill anyone in the lip sync? No, but like this will probably be the most Fiercalicious song of the season, if I had to guess.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
saying that she isn't growing as a person or understanding like places she could be better, but I do think there was some strategy involved, and good for her. Like you should always have some strategy involved. And if you're gonna go up against someone and it ends up being your best friend who's been in the bottom and had a lip sync already, that just tilts the odds even further in your favor.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that she is both growing, but I think it's also was kind of an opportunity for her as well too. So, don't blame her for it. Don't hate her for it. It's smart. Meanwhile, here Eureka is the only one out of the bottom three that hasn't had the beaver, and she has a moment where she breaks down when they ask her if she thinks that should be taken into account here, because she's talking again about her sobriety journey in front of everybody, and she just kind of wants a break in the competition since she's had a very rough time dealing with her emotions and putting so much pressure on herself. So, did we think that there was a possibility that Eureka was going to get saved here? Because I didn't.
not a chance in hell, girl. Like, Kennedy just got saved last week by Alexis, so even if they weren't besties, she could literally send up anyone and have an excuse for it. Send up she could send up Eureka and Fierce like she does and just say she has to pay something back. Plus it's her bestie, so like easy. She could save Fierce and just because she saved her before and you know but then it looks really bad. She could save Eureka because of the sadness and she hasn't gotten it before, but like Eureka's constantly been doing pretty mid across the board. I mean, so is Fierce, but like I think out of everyone so far, like Fierce has had a just slightly better track record than Eureka, I guess. Like it's hard to really look at it because episode 1 and 2 they kind of like flip flopped. Like technically, for me, I still look at Fierce as being bottom 3 in the first episode just because her performance in the challenge was so bad, but because of the team judging, it was saved. But like they've both just been like bottom mid, except for the ball challenge where Fierce was a high placement. So it's hard to like justify saving either of them, honestly. When this is Alexis Mateo's second time in the bottom 3, but I don't even think she deserved this time or the last time.
She definitely didn't at all. So yeah, I thought it was pretty straightforward here. Um, Beaver goes to Alexis. They walk off hand in hand into the sunset as Eureka and Fierce lip sync to Hush Hush by Nicole Scherzinger. I mean, sorry, Pussycat Dolls. And y'all, I think Eureka may have been checked out here because this was not the normal Eureka that I feel like we get in these lip syncs. Like, was she doing nothing but just high kicking the whole time? That's what it felt like.
No, I know it was a choice.
Meanwhile, Fierce for me may have been. I can't go back to her original season because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Season 3, probably out of all the Canada Drag Race seasons, might be my least favorite. So, I'll be honest, I don't really remember much of Fierce's lip syncs from back then. But this, for me, felt like Fierce's moment. I felt like Fierce felt so confident, very sexy in her moment. Like, this was just the performance I think Fierce needed to really shine. And just everything that Fierce was doing for me was working 1,000%. She wiped the floor with Eureka as far as I'm concerned here. Um, that back bend that she did into the roll on the floor, and then her little Naomi Smalls move to the when she did the long note there was just perfect timing. Was just really good. I thought she did so well here.
She
Um,
did the plastique during the lip
the
sync.
plastic for getting the lyrics.
No, the plastique where she's bending over and then swaying to the side while having her ass pointed at us and
Oh
then
yeah,
talking. I was
definitely
like,
did the
oh my god,
plastic.
she did the plastique. Like plastique's move. That's plastique.
They were filming at the same time though. Did she know? Do you think plastic DM'd her beforehand?
Well, first
Um,
of all, plastique has been known for doing this for years now, but do I think like it's this huge thing? No, probably not. I just every time I see a girl do that, I'm like, oh my god, plastique. Because like, how many videos have you seen of plastique doing that? I don't know about y'all, but I've seen a lot of them.
All of
I
her
like
All Stars 9
plastique.
lip syncs were those.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well,
We can only be so lucky.
I mean, honestly, hopefully, justice for plastic. But hopefully, Fierce here. This is kind of her moment where if her trajectory somehow swings upwards, this could be her moment where she kind of had like her bottom moment to kind of move up. I'll be honest, I don't see Fierce really making it too much further in this competition. But before we get to
Yeah.
our final 5, let's go and have our final thoughts on Miss Eureka. Because unfortunately, this is the first time since her first run on the show that Eureka gets eliminated prior to a season finale. And I gotta say, going into this, just kind of based off of my initial opinions of Eureka and how she would probably perform here, I'm a little shocked. It just feels like she's in a much different place in her life this season than she ever has been. And if this is her final time competing, which she kind of alluded to in her final words, I just really hope Eureka can find happiness because she is really talented. And again, I do think she has her best intentions at heart here. It's just kind of sad to see things kind of uh, for anybody to have an emotional exit. I think it touches you to some degree. So I can't help but still have some sort of compassion and empathy for Eureka here. And again, I wish her all the best. Do you have any final thoughts on Eureka's journey this season, Jack?
It was pretty mid.
You're like,
Yes, I know, but immediately to the jugular, like, very opposite. I like it's nothing mean against Eureka. She just wasn't in it in the way that she needed to be. And I don't think she was self-aware. And I think that was something like I'm not saying that Eureka's been known for her self-awareness, but I think the lack of self-awareness here really just kind of did her in a bit as well. I think she wasn't fully prepared for what the season was gonna, entail. And I guess after her second appearance, or well, technically third, um, maybe she thought that she was gonna get to the end as the American representative because she's been there so long, but it just feels like she wasn't fully prepared for the season. On the runway, not always there. On the main challenges, she wasn't up to par always. Like there was a lack of that like Eureka-ness, I guess, for her specifically. Like she had good ideas, they just weren't followed through. They weren't executed very well. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, at this point in the competition, like she wasn't going to be the winner anyway, so might as well, send her on home, send her to the house now.
put her out of her
That's
misery.
how I feel. I
Put her
mean, like,
down.
just put her down. It's okay. She'll be good.
She's in a better place now.
Right. A place where they
Uh,
take care of needs and I don't know, give you a all you can eat buffet, even if you lose the crown
hey, I'd love to visit that place. I'd
three
go
times.
for an all-you-can-eat buffet. That.
I mean, yeah, I would too. That's why I said it. I was like, girl, if I'm sad, I'd rather go to a buffet. Like,
uh, well, we are eating this season, I will say, and sadly, there's only two more episodes left. We're at final five, and only Cheryl and Fierce are going into this penultimate episode without a win. And we have Snatch Game the Rusical coming next week, which is how the fuck is this gonna work out? I have no idea. Do they get to pick their characters and then put them in the Snatch Game?
yes. Well,
Do
they get to pick
they
which characters they
pick
play,
iconic
kind of,
characters from the past that like are we gonna see like Judge Judy? Are we gonna see like little Edie? Like
or not.
are we gonna
Prefer
see little
not.
Richard? Like how is this gonna work? I
Also
don't get how
prefer
this is gonna
not.
work. Well, Jack, I do have to know. So I think we're probably at the end of our podcast here, but do you have any thoughts as we head into our last competition episode for the season finale?
um, my thoughts are that we're either going to see a Cheryl or Lemon win in this next episode. We're either going to see a Cheryl Lemon bottom two, or we're going to see a Kennedy bottom two, possibly against Fierce or Cheryl. Like I feel like Cheryl's either going to end up in the top again, or going to go down in flames. Unfortunately, I see the only real outcome I see here, honestly, is probably Lemon winning this challenge or Cheryl winning the challenge, just to give either Cheryl her first win to justify her in the top four, or maybe even we see a Fierce win just to justify her getting in the top four over Cheryl. I think there's going to be some way that they're going to tiebreaker this because I just don't see the other three girls leaving. But I kind of feel like they might want to tie out Lemon versus Kennedy if they can, or maybe maybe during the sixth episode there'll be another challenge before they decide the end. I don't know how that'll work.
Supposedly it's going to be like UK versus the World 2, where they do a reunion for the first part, and then the second half is the lip sync for the crown. So, no final challenges. This will be the official last challenge. So,
Ooh,
um,
well,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
a lot of things can happen here, and I'm not sure that we necessarily have the strongest of lip syncers, but
I
I
don't know. I
I
think these
definitely
girls can surprise us.
no, definitely. I would see. I guess I would assume that they're gonna have an Alexis versus Kennedy show off at some point, and maybe Cheryl versus Lemon. So I don't know if they're planning on doing that specifically. Like if next episode they want to do the Kennedy versus Alexis or Cheryl versus Lemon, and then maybe on the final one they would have the other pair go up against each other. I'm not sure how that's planned out yet, but it's what I kind of assume.
No, I guess we'll find out. We only got 2 more episodes to go until our winner is crowned, and as always, I cannot wait to see how this turns out. And hopefully, y'all can't either, especially if you made it this far in the podcast. Thank you again so much for listening, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Because, as always, it helps let us know that you're enjoying the content and helps get the content out there as well. Be sure to catch all of our continuing coverage on Canada versus the World 2, no matter how small it must be moving forward here. We also have coverage coming up on Big Brother 26, soon to be Global All Stars later next week, as well as more than likely the Challenge Season 40 as well too. Also, make sure to check out our video on our All Stars 9, how we would have judged the season. Such a fun video, especially because you know how controversial that season all was. Um, but y'all, I cannot believe we're already in August. This year's going by so fast. So is this season. But until next time, y'all. And on behalf of my co-caster Jack, this is Renegayde signing out. Remember, keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye.
Bye.